My name is LaMorvielle, and today I've got some seller advice for you. Yes, we are trying to connect with some new sellers here on the platform because I do notice that there are some sellers who are just having some troubles right now with setting up their live stream shows or even just, keeping viewers in their shows. And so I wanted to not only go live here on Whatnot, but I'm also live streaming on YouTube and on Facebook so that if there's any sellers out there who have any questions, you guys can reach out, drop some, what do you call it? Hold on, I gotta mute this. There we go. So that way, if you guys have any questions, I can answer them for you and hopefully guide you in the right direction, right? So I'm live streaming on YouTube right now, as well as on Facebook. So if you do have any questions, you can drop them in the chat, whether you're live watching live on Whatnot, YouTube, or Facebook. I'm taking a look at all three. So um, let me just tell you what's going on for today's show. So if you are a seller and you are looking for inventory, right? Here at Lamore Fashions, we sell gemstone jewelry, so sterling silver plated. The base metal is copper with sterling silver finish. And so we are now offering seller boxes where you can purchase them in bulk. We've got $99 boxes available for tonight's show. And depending on what collection you'd like, depends on how many pieces in the box. So we have our patina collection, which is like the jewelry looks more vintage, a vintage vibe, right? The aging of the metals. Then we have our character collection, which is more modernized, more modern with the settings. And then each gemstone will have like inclusions in it, just making it a little bit more unique. And so that those will all be available. Again, you have your choice for of the $99 boxes, and you just choose which collection you'd like. I've also got in the store tonight. These are seller profile audits. So what that is if you are a seller on Whatnot and you're just not sure if you set up your profile right, or maybe you're not getting any bookmarks for your shows, or maybe you're not getting enough followers, whatever it is, you can purchase the audit that's in the store. It is a $19 audit. I'm going to go over, take a look at your profile. I'm going to create a little video. I'm going to record what I feel should be changed and updated for you. I'll also include a little checklist. And so that will actually uh, get sent to you. I'll mail that your way if you decide to purchase. Okay. What's up, friend? Hello, hello. I see you. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a beautiful Friday. Welcome, welcome. I see you on YouTube. I see you on Facebook. And I see you here on Whatnot. Thank you guys again for joining. We are doing seller advice tonight. So if you are a Whatnot seller, you can go ahead and drop any questions in the chat as far as whatever it is. Okay. And if I've got an answer, I got you. All right. And if I don't have an answer, no worries. I do. I make videos for on YouTube for sellers if you sell on Poshmark or Whatnot. So I can answer that question. I'll make a video for you answering that question a little deeper. Okay. But for today's show live stream, it is a seller advice. So if you don't have any questions, I'm just going to talk away and give you some advice that I have. But if you do have any specific questions, please drop them in the chat and I'll give you real time answers. Okay. So one thing that I've noticed with Whatnot here, at least recently, is there is a disconnect with what Whatnot has to offer, all the new features and things like that, and then new sellers understanding what's going on the platform. When I've been a seller on Whatnot since it's going to be 3 years in December, and when I first started, Whatnot would onboard their online sellers. Now they're not doing that. And because of that, there's a few sellers now, or there's not few, there's a lot of sellers now who are starting on the platform and they're lost. So one of the reasons I believe is that their profile is not set up. So if you have a Whatnot profile and you are a seller, there are just a few things that I would say go ahead and make sure your Whatnot profile is on point with, right? What's up, Julina? Welcome, welcome, friend. Hey, I know that you have a show coming up. Are you ready? Or are you not doing your show? I don't know. But I did see that you had one. But tonight, thanks for joining. We are talking about selling on Whatnot and what you should do for your profile if you are a seller here on Whatnot. Okay, good, good, good. Well, whoever I have in my Whatnot show, if you're live and I'm hopping off, I will gladly raid you, friend. I got you. But if you have any questions before your show, go ahead, throw it in the chat. A couple things that I would say go ahead and check on your Whatnot profile is what is your logo all about? Like your profile picture, right? That is actually the number one, the first thing that people see when they are looking at your profile, right? If you're in another show, your logo pops up, your profile picture will pop up before they even see your profile page, right? It is attached to your profile, but you do want to make sure that your profile picture, if you're a seller, indicates some kind of, there's some type of connection to what you sell and, what your profile picture is. So, for example, I know or I've seen some sellers where they might be selling jewelry or they might be selling, I don't know, luxury bags. Okay. And then their profile picture is their dog or it's a picture of their baby, right? And although those are cute and I know I love seeing them myself, from a seller perspective, it doesn't help the buyer or for people to really understand what it is you are selling. What are you offering? So just keep that in mind. Your profile picture is like your first gateway, like as far as is your gateway introduction to connecting with other sellers and buyers here on Whatnot. The other thing I would then say to check, these are just basic things that I've seen on sellers' profile pages where it's like, okay, uh, nobody told you. So hopefully I'm able to tell you something that you can actually use, friend. The other thing I would say is the your banner picture as well. Okay. So right at the top of your Whatnot feed, you're going to have a banner picture. And that is also something that you want to be clear. You don't want it to be super cluttered with a lot of patterns and things, right? The clearer it is, the more your profile picture will stand out. And it's a little easier for your buyers to read. You were a total failure as a seller. Who would listen to you? What's up, Smart Shopper One? I appreciate you. Actually, I have been consistently making over $60,000 a year as a reseller, and I've been doing it since 2018. So I don't know if that's called failure, but I know that I I don't know. I can only do what I know how to do, and that's all I can talk about, right? So if that's what you think, I would love to hear what's a success for you, right? Smart Shopper One, how what is your, I guess, definition of success? That is the question. Everybody's definition is different. Mine to me is I'm making consistent sales annually. I sell amazing products. I've got 5-star reviews. Again, I've got a 4.99 star rating. So I don't know. To me, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I've got some answers for you guys. So I hope this is helpful to you. And thank you for the feedback. All right, so let's keep it going. We also have what's another thing I would say to check on your profile? Oh, so on your profile page, if you are a seller, another good way that you can get bookmarks and followers on your profile or on your upcoming shows is to schedule some shows, right? I've seen a lot of new sellers, they go, I guess, by how they're feeling. And that's how I started too. When I first started selling on Whatnot, I would hop in and just kind of hop on and just schedule as I go, right? If I feel like selling today, I'm going to schedule a show. The only problem with that is you're not giving your audience enough time to bookmark, to know that you have a show coming up, right? So you want to make sure that you schedule ahead of time and give uh your customers enough time to bookmark and plan and prepare for your show, right? So the more shows that you have scheduled on your profile, the more bookmarks that you can get, which will lead to more viewers in your show. All right. So plan ahead. If you check my profile page on Whatnot, I actually have shows planned into the year 2026. And so from now, every time I go live, all the way until these shows happen, every time I go live, I'm going to put that call out and say, hey guys, make sure to bookmark. And usually people do. And then the bookmarks will continue to grow. And eventually, again, the more bookmarks you have, it does lead to more viewers in your show. Okay. So it's about preparation and things like that. So the more that you prepare, the more shows that you have scheduled, the more bookmarks you get. And then those bookmarks will turn into viewers, which potentially turn into followers. Okay. So these are just a few things, again, that I would say to check on if you are a seller on Whatnot. These are things I would also say, these are just the basics, right? These, if you don't have this set up on your profile correctly, it almost makes you like look like you're not a serious seller, right? We want you to look serious, like you are uh, in business, right? That you do sell on Whatnot. If you only have one show listed, you almost look like you only do this every once in a while versus you have, 3 or 4 shows scheduled all at once and it looks like you're more consistent. You're going to have a lot of shows, right? So again, keep these in mind. These are just little tidbits, little tips that you would use to set up your profile, especially if you're new here on Whatnot. All right. And then let's see. And if you and again, if you have any questions or any uh feedback or anything like that, drop them in the chat, friends. I will gladly answer your questions. All right, let's see. What else do we have? So, right now for today's show, I do have the profile audit. If you guys are interested in, I'll take a look at your profile, take a look and see how it's set up. Make sure that everything looks good marketing wise, promotion wise, right? It's all about how are you setting up your scheduled shows, right? Do you have cover photos on your scheduled shows? Or is it just your profile picture, right? And your profile picture could work again, but it depends on what your profile picture is. Is it your logo? Does it have anything to do with your business? Right? It needs to look clean cut. It needs to look professional, right? Not like this is a hobby. This is actually supposed to be something that you do um, that others can tell that you are consistent with. Hope this is making sense. Thank you guys again for joining me here on Whatnot. I am also live streaming on YouTube and on Facebook. Thank you for joining me, friends. All right, so this is again seller advice. Plus, you can grab some inventory if you are looking for it. Today, I do have in the buy it now on Whatnot. I have some $99 inventory boxes. depending on what collection you choose. So we do have our vintage patina collection, which looks more like vintage jewelry. And we also have our character collection pieces, which are more modern, chic designs. But again, we've got more inclusions, more character to the pieces. So those are in our buy it now inventory boxes that you can snag and use and resell. And I try to make sure that the margins are low enough for you to resell them, flip them, and also make a huge profit. So you can take a look at those inventory boxes if you are interested. You can scan the QR code if you're on YouTube or on Facebook. And then if you are on Whatnot, you can just go ahead and check out the bin. All right. I also do have the audits again if you are interested in it. I have a $19 audit, which is just I'm going over to your Whatnot profile page, taking a look at everything. I'll create a personalized video for you that details what you should change and why you should change these things so that way you can make the most out of your profile, right? Your profile is the first place people go when they're talking about you as a seller. They're going to go there to check out your description. They're going to see your profile picture there. They're going to check out your scheduled shows. So these are all things that I would just make sure you've got set up correctly, right? Put a little effort into the profile. And not just your profile, honestly, it's your branding. How are you showing up on the platform? Okay. How are you, as a seller, showing what you have to offer based on your brand, right? So, um, these are just things, little things to think about. Some programs that I use to work with my branding is Canva, right? If you are a seller and you're trying to figure out how do I make my cover photos for my shows, right? You can use Canva. Um, or any, there's a whole bunch of apps that you can use, Photo Studio, Photoshop, things like that. But Canva is my go-to. They've got the free version, so you don't even have to pay for anything if you don't want to. Um, what else? And then you can again tap into all types of community. There's a lot of communities that you can find on Facebook that you can tap into if you are looking for a specific, just a community to help you bounce questions off of, things like that. Okay. Um, I'm trying to give you guys some ideas as to just how you can tap into getting more viewers into your shows, more followers, and just be more known more on the platform, known more on uh Whatnot. All right, let's see here. And again, thank you for joining me on Whatnot, on YouTube, and on Facebook. I appreciate you guys again for tuning in. All right, let's see here. I'm probably, let's see. I started a show earlier and I wasn't live streaming, didn't realize it till it was too late. So I'll stay on for a little bit longer. It's only supposed to be an hour show. So we've got about, I'll say maybe about 15 more minutes left of the show. So if you have any questions, if you're a seller here, again, this is a seller advice. If you're a seller here and you've got questions, drop them in the chat. This is all about selling on Whatnot. If you're joining me on YouTube, again, if you've got a Whatnot profile or a Whatnot account and you're a seller there, or you might be thinking about selling on Whatnot, you can go ahead and let me know in the chat, friends. Let me know whatever questions you've got on your mind. All right, let's see here. What else can I tell you about? Trying to drop some nuggets for you guys. The other thing I would say that will help get you some followers or bookmarks on your show is once you have your show scheduled, all right, there is a share button on each show. I would share your show to your social media platforms, right? So like for instance, right now, not even that I'm live streaming, but I also shared the show to my Facebook groups that I have, right? So people in the group can also tune in and watch as well. You can do this on your social media pages. Um, just anywhere that you can share the link. And actually, you can even share the link to your friends. You can share them in text messages. Maybe you've got an email list, which is a really good thing to build if you don't have one. Um, then you can send out little spurts, little blasts to tell people about your upcoming shows. It's a great way to do that. Let's see. What else can I tell you? Now, I've noticed that a lot of sellers have been using the promote button to try to get more views in their show. My suggestion with that is if you're brand spanking new, I would not use the promote button. I would use the promote only if I have, a little bit more viewers already in my show. Reason being is when you're a new seller, you're competing with a lot of other sellers who are also using the promote button. So it's almost like whether you use the promote button or not, you have to fight to be seen, right? You gotta, there's if there's a lot of fish in the sea, right? A lot of fish using the promote button, as well as there's a lot of fish who are just on whatnot, period. You are in a sea of fish and you've got to stand out. And so for you to stand out, you would need to figure out your format, figure out your show format first. I wouldn't spend money on promoting something and you don't even know what you're running yet. Okay. So save the promote button till, maybe after you've done a couple shows, you've had a couple shows underneath your belt. Um, you want to just get a little structure first. And another good way that you can get some structure is hopping in and out of other sellers' shows and just watching them. Watch how they do their shows, watch how they speak, look at the things that they've got in their background, their setup. You get a lot of ideas from going into other sellers' shows. And just even participating, just go in the chat and say, hello, I'm new here, or I love how you set up your show. Um, most sellers are very willing to give you guys ideas and feedback and tips. So don't be afraid. Don't hesitate to jump in a seller's show and just say hello. Just interact. Okay. What else? I'm trying to think of anything else I can give you. Any other feedback? Again, if you've got any questions, you guys feel free to um, drop your questions in the chat, whether you're watching live on Whatnot or if you're on YouTube. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Now. All right, Julina. Thanks for hopping in. You have an amazing show, friend. All right. So again, this is a seller advice line, seller helpline, I guess we can call it that. Where if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat and I will answer them for you. Okay. Um, trying to think. So, what's another standard thing that I've noticed recently? One thing that I've noticed on a lot of sellers' profile pages is again, the lack of scheduled shows. Okay. If you're a new seller, or even you've been selling here for on Whatnot for a while, but you're not really consistent with it, you just kind of go live when you can, I would still schedule the shows. All right. Because when you schedule the shows, you're getting bookmarks. People will go to your profile, see that you've got some shows up, and they'll be able to bookmark. If you don't have the show scheduled, then they won't be able to bookmark and you're losing out on potential viewers. They're bookmarking to remind them that when you go live, they want to see what you have to offer, right? So the more shows you have scheduled, the more potential bookmarks you get, and then eventually those turn into viewers. So that is another key tip that I would say and tell you guys to do if you are a seller here on Whatnot. Okay, make sure you schedule your shows in advance. If you take a look at my profile, I've got all my shows scheduled all the way up past 2026, up past New Year's. And you don't have to go that far. I would say minimum 3 shows. If you've got 3 shows scheduled, you are in good standing, right? That gives people enough chance to know that you are a consistent seller, right? Not only are you going to go live your next show, but you plan to go live another 2 shows past that. And so you don't look like you're just a hobby seller, meaning you only go live when you feel like it or, every once in a while. The more consistent you go live or the more consistent you set up your schedule shows, the chances of more bookmarks and more viewers coming your way. So there's another golden nugget for you. Thanks again for tuning in here on YouTube as well as tuning in on Facebook. I'm live streaming from Whatnot right now, so thank you guys for joining me. All right, let's see. I'm gonna be live for like another 10 minutes or so. So if you have any other questions, drop them in the chat. I am glad to give you my advice or my opinion on what you ask. Bum. Let's see, what else can I tell you guys about? Also on Whatnot. I've noticed, okay, so here's another thing that I've gotten asked before was giveaways. Um, how it's like, so when you're a new seller and you first hop on to Whatnot, you do notice that there are a lot of big sellers and they do have a lot of giveaways during their shows, right? It's usually back-to-back giveaways. And they also have dollar starts, right? So I've noticed that a lot of sellers when they're first starting out on Whatnot, their thought process is, well, since the bigger sellers are doing it and it's working so well, that's what I have to do too. And that assumption is what's actually hurting a lot of sellers on Whatnot because there's a strategy. It's not just about doing the dollar starts and doing the giveaways, right? You have to understand what the giveaways cost you, and then you have to understand how many giveaways can you run in a certain amount of time and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. So your goal is, as a new seller, my recommendation would be for every giveaway that you run, right? Your goal would be to see how many auctions can you have to pay for that shipping, right? You, for every giveaway that you run, you have to pay the shipping on it. So if you're giving away something big and heavy, then your shipping cost is going to be more expensive than if you give away something that is a lighter weight, right? I give away European charms. Every once in a while, I'll give away some jewelry pieces like pendants and necklaces. That doesn't cost very high. It's like maybe a couple ounces tops. And that's like the lowest tier of shipping here on Whatnot. Well, besides stickers. And that's like a $4 and some change. Okay. Um, so if you're running giveaways, you don't want to run things that are super heavy. Plus, again, while you're running these giveaways, you want to, again, try to run auctions so that way they cover the cost of whatever your shipping is, your shipping cost is. So if you are, for every giveaway that you run, you are running it and it is costing you $5 for your shipping, you have to run auctions, enough auctions in that 5-minute time frame to pay for that $5. Does That makes sense. So if your auctions are $5 starts, then your goal would be to at least successfully sell one auction in 5 minutes to cover that shipping cost. If you can sell more than that, now you are generating profit. That's the strategy that these bigger sellers are doing, right? They're running these dollar starts because they know that there's going to be enough people in their show to bid it up and pay for these giveaways that they are running back to back to back. So a 5 minute show or a 5 minute show, a 5 minute giveaway might cost them as a big seller, again, $5. But if they're able to run $5 starts, and each dollar start, people are bidding them up. Even if they get bid to $5, they're still making a profit as far as the giveaway cost, the shipping cost. Okay. Now that also does taking, account as far as the cost on the items you're auctioning as well. Okay. If you're auctioning items and the cost of your item that you're auctioning is $5, I wouldn't run items for $1. And and you're a newer seller, I would say I wouldn't do that because again, you're going to end up missing out. You don't have enough people in your show. There's a lot of it's like, think about it as like a math equation, right? 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. If you try to start mix and matching these numbers and they don't make sense, your math is going to be wrong, right? You need to have enough viewers in your show to run these back to back giveaways and have these dollar starts. If you don't have enough people in your show, enough viewers in your show, you are losing out, or you could lose out on a lot of money. Okay, a lot of costs that you are getting because you're running these giveaways, or a lot of costs because you're running these dollar starts and the cost of the item is too much, right? Imagine you have an item that cost you $5 and then you run it for $1. You are now in the hole $4 and some change, actually, because Whatnot also takes their cut as well. So there's a lot of things that I feel sellers don't take in consideration when they're first starting, especially trying to run these dollar starts and things, right? Um, so yeah, keep that in your thoughts, friends. If you got any questions that you need answered, or again, you're new here on Whatnot and you're just not sure what to do next on the platform, drop your question in the chat, my friends. Okay. Again, I appreciate you guys for being here, for tuning in. Let's see. All right. Trying to think, is there anything else that I can think of that usually sellers have issues with when they're first starting out? That's really honestly the biggest thing is that I'm seeing on Whatnot right now. Our sellers are having their very, very first show and they're doing these dollar starts. Here's the other kicker if you guys don't know. Whatnot will boost your first show. So if you are a brand new seller, right, and it's your first show ever, 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 Whatnot will push your show to a lot more viewers. You actually get your own category. It's called up and coming, or I forget what the title is, but you gotta your show will fall underneath this new seller category, and so you get an extra little push when you have your first live show. And so what a lot of sellers are seeing is they're getting a little taste, right? Right? They get a little taste of all these huge sales, all these people back to back buying from them. Hey, right? And then they end their show and they feel so good. It's like, all right. Then their next show, nobody shows up. There's no viewers, there's no sales. Then their next show, there's no viewers, there's no sales. And so they're now feeling like, what happened? My first show was amazing. And then now I don't have any viewers. What did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong, okay? Whatnot pushes your show as a new seller first. So your very first show, you're going to get this bump in views, this bump in sales. And then if you do see a dip, then that's now you're actually on the platform as a seller. Now you got to do your work. You've got to work on your branding, work on your shows now to start standing out from the rest of the sellers on the platform. Okay. And then, like I said, the main advice, main things I would say is make sure your profile looks professional, meaning you've got a professional profile pic. Your description is talking about what you sell and what you have to offer. You're talking about, not talking about, but you also have your schedule shows up, at least three. Whether, and then the best thing about the schedule shows are it's okay if you decide to change the time and the date, right? You can always go in and move the time. If you schedule it for a time and you realize, okay, well, that time's not going to work or that day's not going to work, you can reschedule. So it's okay to go ahead and schedule these shows ahead of time. Um, and then what else? You have your show schedule, your profile picture, your banner profile picture needs to look professional as well. Make sure you have some nice cover photos for your live shows, something that's going to catch some people's eyes. I would try to work on your brand. So if you are a seller, a new seller, don't just focus on selling the items that you have, focus on your brand, your what it like your vibe, right? If you look at my profile, I actually, if you've been here before and you've checked out what I've had on whatnot, things have been I've been rebranding things. So things have a little bit of a different vibe, but you can go to my profile now and see, there's like a theme, there's like a flow to the banner, the profile picture, the cover photos, right? You want to do the same thing with your brand, with your business. So maybe your brand are more blues and greens or yellows. Maybe it's about nature. Maybe it's about comedy and fun vibes. Like whatever it is, you've got to figure out what that is and tap into your brand. So that way now, when you're scheduling your shows, when you're writing your descriptions, when you're putting your profile picture, it all just fits. It feels more like a package versus just a scattered profile of just bits and pieces of random things. I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of random things on seller profile pictures, right? Or profiles, I mean. So again, their profile picture might be a picture of their dog. And then their description is, I love traveling and I love selling. And then they've got maybe one show scheduled and their profile picture or their cover photo is a picture of, I don't know, just it just there's not a lot of cohesiveness. It just doesn't fit together. It's just very random pieces, right? Think of your profile like a puzzle and all the pieces got to fit. It's got to look nice. And, just like a puzzle, if you're missing a piece, it's not going to fit right. So keep that in mind. Now, if you are new here, again, welcome. I appreciate you. This is the first seller advice that I've done on Whatnot, and I've live streamed it to YouTube and Facebook. I normally create my own seller advice lives, and then I upload it to YouTube. So I was trying something different tonight. So if you are interested in getting more seller advice, I would say please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And it is at LaMore Fashions. Just like you see at the top of the screen, LaMore Fashions. So it's youtube.com/ the at symbol and then LaMore Fashions. And then same thing for Facebook. I would say if you are watching on Facebook Live, definitely tune in on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so that way you can continue to get seller advice and seller tips on how to sell on platforms like Whatnot and Poshmark. All right, friends, that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I will be back next week with more shows here on YouTube and Facebook and on Whatnot. Thank you guys again. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and an amazing weekend. Till next time, you all stay bright, beautiful, and remember to keep on smiling.